Back at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Been way too long, but
yeah.
We braved through.
Dom's about to graduate high school.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy, man.
No, it's ending the 90s recap. So we're ending.
This is the last year.
Yeah, we're ending on probably the lowest note you can, which is 97.
I think there's some good stuff here, but I know it's been literally several weeks since we did the Hell's Headbangers episode. Then, 1990?
Yeah, we did 90.
We did 90, and then we're going to do 97 right after that. And I got COVID, my kid got COVID, and Anthony that we were going to do it with got COVID. I mean, it was just shit getting pushed, and finally we were just like, supposed to do it with Anthony again, and then he's doing stuff with family, and we're like, we'll just do another one with him. We're just going to hit 97.
Yeah. We're going to start the label Retrospective next, so Peaceville.
This time we got R&R Genio here, used to be in From the Depths, Blood Coven.
I've never heard any of those bands. What the fuck are you talking about?
Merciless Rain.
Yeah, Merciless Rain.
Yeah.
Vengeance Within. Jesus Christ. Drug Hita. Third Eye Blind.
Third Eye Blind.
Great shit.
Which is 97. Let's just get that out of the way. I do love Third Eye Blind. If you don't like that record's great from 97. That's a great record.
Okay, well, we just lost half of our subscribers.
I was like 11. So
Jesus.
But yeah, I don't think this is as bad as a year is. I mean, just looking at your list, there's some great shit on there, dude.
I think for death metal, it's not that it's a bad year. It's just there's a lot of good stuff. It's just not a. I think it's a great year for grind, really. But aside from that, there really isn't like a standout. I guess we could start with the best record I think of the year. May as well start with death metal. I think Death Metal by Dismember is one of my favorite Dismember records. Probably in my top 3, maybe the second or the third. Oh yeah, it's a perfect blend of that Autopsy mixing with Iron Maiden. I think it's great, and the Misanthropic EP was 97 too.
Yeah,
this is the first Dismember record I ever bought at a FYE or Camelot music.
Yeah, Scamelot.
Yeah, Scamelot. I think I just paid it off. I had to make 10-year payments of $24.99. It's so expensive. But
Dismember is one. They don't have a bad album.
No,
not one.
No,
they're just like
most consistent of all. Them and Autopsy are the most consistent.
Definitely. Yeah, just flawless. That album's. I mean, it's Dismember. You put it on, and it's like it's going to be classic.
I mean, another album, too, of 97. Another band that's very consistent, doesn't get talked a lot too, is Flesh Crawl. Blood Red Massacre was 97.
Dude, I wish they would re-release all those.
That's from the Black Market? I know, I wish they would too.
There's so many good. Were you ever a fan of Flesh Crawl?
So.
Blood Red Massacre, some of their mid-90s, that's like more Dismember sounding.
Yeah.
It's cool. The first one, I like Descent of the Absurd, but they're one of those bands, I think the first record I like the least. I like their later stuff a lot more.
But I mean, we got my 5, because I was running through Vital Remains, Forever Underground, which I think is an awesome album.
Yeah, it's great.
God Dethroned, The Grand Grimoire, which
that's what I was just gonna. That's my number 1 of 97. When that album came out,
you're the one that played it for me.
Is that Metal Blade? Were they on Metal Blade for that one?
Yeah, and they're still my favorite.
They're still on Metal Blade.
They're great. They're a great band. Kip talked about them when we were doing the Hells episode.
Yeah, I think they're one of the most consistent. Every album's good, and that last one is fucking awesome. Remember, we were jamming it, but Grand Grimoire, he's the one that played it, right when we started talking, like, became friends, and I was just like, holy shit, dude.
It's phenomenal.
Hypocrisy, the final chapter.
Awesome. Supposed to be the last album.
Yeah, and one of the greatest album covers ever.
Honestly, it's like it's their best, which isn't saying much. I think. It's still dumb as hell. I mean, even when they take a band photo in an album, it's still somehow stupid looking. They have the worst. You think a guy that's like so obsessive, like a producer and such a genius with behind the the soundboard, would not let his 7-year-old cousin do their art direction.
Yeah, but it's not as bad as Abducted. That cover.
Nothing.
That's absolutely the fucking worst thing I've ever seen. But Vader, Black to the Blind.
Awesome.
Not big on the production of the album, but I think the album's amazing.
Carnal. So many good songs in that one. That's
of course, Deceased, Fearless, Undead Machines.
My favorite Deceased.
Which is the first one I heard, and that just Which, I mean,
97, man, Relapse, nobody sounded like that.
No.
Nobody had that sound. This retro metal thing wasn't even really a thought.
and that doesn't sound like Blueprints. That doesn't sound like Luck of the Corpse. So, to me, this was the album that they really kind of found their niche, and then they just went with it. And I think it's great. But I think there's an album that you and I mentioned it to you, and you were like, "Holy shit! Yeah, I just heard it recently." I always ignored it because I thought the fucking name. I was like,
I know exactly what you're talking
shitty fucking like just brutal death metal from Japan, and it's fucking melodic death metal. It's one of the greatest things I've ever heard. It's Intestine Ballism and Anatomy of the Beast.
So good. That album is so good.
What the fuck, dude?
When I heard this too, I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to sound like.
I thought it was going to be just like brutal shit.
I thought it was going to be gore grind.
It's amazing.
There's a band I'm going to bring, Sent X, Reflections.
That's my favorite Sent X record.
But, which is a great album. There's a band, I think they're from Denmark. Denmark or Holland, I can't remember. But Autumn Leaves, Embraced by the Absolute. The next album I think is called like When Night Conquers Day. I wish they would re-release those two because they're heavy as hell. They're melodic. It's great death metal. I mean, this album's heavy as hell. But
I had something kind of similar. I had Morgan Among Majestic Ruin. That's kind of like a doom death.
That's
kind of melodic.
That's another Relapse.
Another Relapse release too. Serpents of the Light, 97, which I consider the last good Deicide record, one that I really care about.
I stopped listening to them after Legion.
I mean,
I think there's stuff.
Even Once Upon the Cross, you couldn't do.
No,
Well,
I didn't even like Legion that much.
Wow,
it was
your first album.
It's just that Legion was too short, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it was with so much death metal that was coming out at the time. Someone played it for me, and I'm like, I want to spend the money. I mean,
that's a good point.
Unemployed piece of shit musician. I'm not going to scrape together $15 to go buy that when I could go buy something different. That
makes sense.
This same year.
But yeah, Serpents of the Light definitely is, I would say, the last one that, even though I know when we were talking to J-Dog from Hells, he does really like some of the, like Incinerate Him and stuff like that.
I think when you listen back, they're not as bad.
Which is cool. And I do think the last album they did, the last Deicide album was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
Really good. But
Back from the Dead by Obituary was 97 as well. Which, I mean, the first album I ever got by Obituary was Dead, the live record.
Mm-hmm.
And they played a lot of... And Biello, when we first became friends, he had a Back from the Dead long sleeve shirt. So that's maybe check it out. It's still an album. It's nostalgic for me. Is it bad? No. Is it good? No, I don't know about that either. It's just kind of
real
there.
plain.
Kind of plain, yeah.
Isn't there a song on that that's like the same riff also on Warpath?
I'm sure.
6 Feet Under. There's a song on it that I can't remember, but
Warpath was also 97. If I'm not, let's get that out of the way. Anyway, moving on. That's Necrophobic Dark Side.
Yeah,
another classic melodic death metal record.
I think it's another band that is pretty damn consistent.
And I think that Horacle by In Flames, it's good to hear from like melodic stuff.
Yeah, I separated that because I think that the melodic shit is, that to me was like to take off to me.
Yeah, I think so. I think in some other bands, like some older death metal bands like Entombed, kind of doing, going to different terrain. To Ride, Shoot Straight, and Speak the Truth. One of my favorite albums by Entombed. I love the drums on it. To Ride is great. I love the death and roll era, and that and Wolverine Blues I think are fantastic. But
it's a great album.
It's just for classic death. There really isn't like a classically old school death metal record in '97. By this time, bands have really moved on to different styles, and I think that it's the old school bands that started death metal are aside from Dismember, really there's the only one that's really holding the flag for this while this is going on. Not really a big year.
Because Hypocrisy, the final chapter, doesn't sound anything like the first two.
No, it does not. They're well beyond that sound.
Yeah, they're well beyond it. But I mean, for me, Horacle was like the benchmark for melodic death metal. I mean, that still to this day, you know, I can go back and forth between Jester Race and Horacle, but Horacle was the first one I ever bought from them, and I was just
I remember Horacle and Jester Race being two that I really enjoyed.
So anything that was like that, I remember getting Nightingales, Towards the Twilight, Dark Tranquility, The Mind's Eye, Sacrilege, The Fifth Season, Eucharist, Mirror Worlds, Ebony Tears, Torture, Insomniae.
Yeah, I think Ebony Tears. We forgot to mention Handful of Nothing, I think, in '99. Ebony Tears is an underrated band, and they should get more credit for that style.
But you could...
Eucharist also. I think Eucharist is another band. Eucharist, by this time, is totally a melodic death metal band.
Yeah.
They're well beyond removed from their demos.
And you know, I mentioned Children of Bodom, but it's not... It's definitely different. Because it's not Swedish death metal, they're Finnish. But it's almost more, you probably, let's say, like more power metal in there, like more classical, the keyboards, stuff like that. But it's still melodic. But to me, there was a lot of great death metal and melodic death metal, but I agree with you that there wasn't any, even Serpents of the Light, Deicide, didn't give me the vibe of the first two, you know what I mean?
It's really structured. The songs are kind of very, I hate to use the word pop-like, but it's very, the vocals are really clear. It's definitely a more polished offering. Which isn't really bad. I think that kind of suits them, actually, with the way they write songs. But I remember it's just the last one I thought had some catchy, good, classic Deicide tunes on it. And I think, like Ronnie was saying, by the time they put out some other records, I just was into other stuff and just wasn't paying attention. Like Incinerate Him was pretty decent, but I remember not being too interested. This time, I think, moving on, I think Grind was great. And one of my favorite albums of '97, favorite bands, period, is Brutal Truth, Sounds of the Animal Kingdom. Probably my favorite.
You're going to kill me, dude. I've never heard that. I've always loved the album cover.
Really?
Man.
With the fucking dude and one of the Grace. I probably heard songs off of it, but
oh my god, Dementia. There's so Kill All Politicians. There's so many. It's really it's really a lot more influences like crust punk and other stuff in it. It's not kind of removed from even them. Like you were saying about death metal bands, it's still far removed from their first record. You know, it doesn't sound anything like Extreme Conditions really at all. But it's
that
good.
One is
that's one of the best of all time.
You saw them live back then.
Yeah, I saw that tour. It was Brutal Truth. It was a Napalm Death, Brutal Truth, Cathedral, Carcass. I think that was the show.
Grind Crusher.
Yeah, Grind. I think that's what it was. Yeah, Cathedral was fucking amazing.
Yeah,
the whole night was great. I remember the Brutal Truth's drummer
Scott Carlson. Yeah.
He fucking passed out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What the fuck? Yeah, in the middle of a song, just doom. I'll never forget that. And I don't know if anybody else really noticed. I'm sure people noticed, but I remember going, because I was sitting there watching him, because I'd never seen anybody play that fast before.
Yeah, the gravity blast.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I remember hearing just this weird noise and seeing kind of like hunched over.
Yeah. Richard, who replaced him, who played on, started on Need to Control and on this record, Sounds of the Animal Kingdom, was also great.
Yeah.
He was an incredible drummer too. They were really an awesome band. I think some other, Misery Index by Assuck, awesome, classic, grind record, more in the punk realm. Faxed Head, Exhumed at Birth, another amazing kind of technical grind kind of record. Defy by Abstain, awesome as well for the split with Nauseam, which came I think the next year. Johu by Discordance Axis. Discordance Axis is another band. Dave Whitty, it's crazy drummer.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Isn't he in
Municipal Waste?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Discordance Axis was his first and Anal Cunt.
Wasn't he also in
Like When You Die? Perfect Anal Cunt record. You're a Cop. That's fucking great. Who doesn't like You're a Cop by Anal Cunt? It's fantastic.
I had a friend, Ethan. You literally bought the Anal Cunt albums just because of the song title.
Yeah, it was a lot. That was a common thing.
Yeah.
I bought I'm one of the few people who bought the Anal Cunt records like stoked because the music was good.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fantastic.
I thought it was a joke. I was like reading that like you have cancer, you're gay, and I'm just like.
My favorite of all time was I snuck a retard into the sperm bank. Dude, I lost my shit when I read that. I was like,
Unbelievable.
Napalm Death, Inside the Torn Apart, which also is probably my top 5 or 97 too. I love that era of Napalm Death.
Well, you're talking to you two
I
are
love
the
that
biggest
era.
Napalm.
I love it. Jesse Pintado's riffs, I think, is so much awesome. I think because we both like hardcore and we both like 90s hardcore, I can hear the influence. You can tell they were touring with Snapcase. You can tell. I like that they brought that in. And I get why a lot of death metal fans or even a lot of grind fans, they don't really like those records. Like, you probably don't like what they're influenced by, which, I mean, it makes sense, but I think Inside the Torn Apart's one of their best of that period.
What's the album that came before or after that? I
get them mixed up. There's Fear, Emptiness, and Despair, and Diatribes.
Diatribes was right before those.
Right before that. What's after Inside?
Fear, Emptiness, and Despair.
Fear, Despair is 94.
Okay,
and
so that's the year that...
Words in the Exit Wound is
I think those are the two albums that I always, for some reason...
Both good.
I always get the years mixed up.
Inside the Torn Apart's a little better, though.
When I was in From the Depths, we opened up for Napalm Death and At the Gates in Maslin, of all places.
Oh, the Machine?
Machine. And I remember, there was barely anybody there. But when we were playing, that was that era of Napalm Death. And me and Buddy Mitchell from Jogito were still worshiping them.
Yeah.
And most people were like,
yeah, I've been over it.
What are they doing? And we were just like, it fucking rules. We loved it.
That was great. I mean, it's really, I think Phobia Enslaved also came out this year. The Phobia is one of the greatest grind bands on the West Coast. Junkie by Mange. Mange is an awesome band. Toxic Bonkers. If the Dead Could Talk. That's another underrated grind band. It's kind of unique. Agoraphobic Nosebleed's first 7-inch was 97. Groin Churn, 6x9 from South Africa. Kind of groovy.
I've heard the name. I've never...
Blood Duster, straight out of North Korea. Blood Dusters, and that's another Relapse classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Blood Duster was incredible.
I think I've seen them.
They never... there wasn't a band before, really, or after that really had that kind of groovy, rocking kind of sound with the gore grind and stuff like that. It was awesome. Damaged, speaking of Brutal Truth, Token of Remedies Research, that's a really cool record too. If you're into the Sounds of the Animal Kingdom by Brutal Truth, that Damaged record has Kevin from Brutal Truth on vocals. Nice. It's an Australian band.
Is it Kevin Sharp?
Yeah. It's an Australian band. They're kind of technical. It's a little. It was on Rotten Records actually.
Okay.
So if you're into Astabath or people listening, check out Damaged. Damaged 381, Extreme Noise Terror, which has Barney from Napalm Death. Yes. Because during this time, Phil Vane from Extreme Noise Terror was supposed to join Napalm Death for Fear, Emptiness, Despair, but he couldn't handle the vocals, so they had Barney come back. And during that time, they recorded this Extreme Noise Terror record. It got released in '97.
Who's your favorite Napalm?
And Barney was pissed because he wanted to do an old school Extreme Noise Terror record, and they ended up writing a record that sounds like Napalm Death. So he's like, okay, I'll just go back to my old band.
Who's your favorite Napalm vocalist? Is it Barney or?
Well, he was never on anything. I mean, you mean like Lee or Barney?
Yeah, no.
I thought you meant Phil was on. Oh no, I mean of Napalm, Barney.
Barney.
Lee Dorian's cool, but I don't think he really knew what he was doing.
It's hard for me to pick because the first Napalm Death was Lee Dorian. Yeah. That I listened to, and I fucking worshipped it. And when Barney came along, I loved Benediction. Subconscious Terror, and to me it was two different things. And when they got him, I was kind of like,
I think Barney's one of my favorite vocalists of all time because I love his style. But I think I agree. Let me put it this way. I think I like Lee on those records more than I like Barney doing them live.
Exactly.
Does that make, you know what I'm saying? And the reason why is I think Lee, and I don't mean it as an insult, he really kind of didn't know what he was doing and ended up landing on something really cool.
From Enslavement to Obliteration is my favorite album. And
perfect.
Exactly. When Barney came in, and they did, what was it? What was his first record with them?
Harmony Corruption.
Harmony Corruption. It was to death metal. We
were pretty,
it took me a long time to get into it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is this death metal.
I think Mass Appeal Madness EP is when people really got accepted Barney, because that was a little bit more like the old.
Well, when they did, what's the one after
Utopia?
Utopia Banished. Then I was
kind of brought back the.
I was like, okay, I dig it. Yeah. I dig him. I'm fine. I can handle this.
We just did a K&B rec. My other grind band, K&B, just recorded some stuff, and I played it for Kip. And we were really we were listening to the first couple Napalm records a lot, obviously. And I told my friend Ryan, I was like, man, there's one of those records that I put on from Enslavement. it makes me want to play music and never play it again and quit.
Yeah.
So the scenes just say, I'm never going to top this. This is never, nothing I'm do is ever going to come near. It's so good.
Yeah.
Logical Nonsense too, Expand the Hive. That's a band I think you would like, Kip, a lot. Kind of like a crossovery hardcore type band.
Oh, that's
from
cool.
New Mexico, I think. Yeah, they're really cool. And that's kind of what I had for that style. But I know for I think there was more interesting grind records this year. The few death metal albums I have on here, I really do like.
Solid stuff, dude. I mean, that's why I know we were joking back and forth talking about 97 is going to be nothing but fucking Janko jeans and Bulgarian necklaces. But there's a lot of killer shit that came out. And I was going through the death metal and I'm like, damn, dude, the fucking God. I mean, that God Dethroned kind of that and the Vital Remains. And yeah, and this is, I also have some. We'll get to the black metal section because I thought there's a lot of
there's some good
great fucking black metal.
Great black metal came out. Destroyer 666, the Unchain the Wolves.
It's a great album.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think for mainstream stuff, I mean, The More Things Change by Machine Head. I enjoy that record. A lot of people don't like it. I think that's kind of odd.
Well, here's the thing. For me,
I love The Burning Red, but I get why people don't like it. I don't get why people don't like The More Things Change. I truly don't understand.
I always tell him because I know he loves The Burning Red, but I can't remember what fucking show it was it was either at the Flying Machine or the Agora Ballroom, and when I was standing there, and they were playing, I didn't know it was Machine Head, but I was just like, all right. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's like. It's just new metal, like it was like rap in it and shit, and I was like, God, this sounds like Rob Flynn. I hope it's not. And then once I went, I don't know, but I think I know you too well. And I was like, dude, that's
Desire to Fire.
And I was like, oh my God, it's Machine Head. And after that came after The More Things Change, which I think is a heavy album.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as good as Burn My Eyes.
I don't think it's as good either, but I think it's good.
I don't think they've done anything as good as Burn My Eyes.
No, I agree.
I do love The Burning.
It's like Burn My Eyes, The More Things Change, and then fucking literally.
I'd rather
everything
not
else.
list them off because I think I would go Burning Red,
Oh, jeez.
Burn My Eyes, and then
I could just see the count of our subscribers.
drop.
I would
No,
have
but it's
cheetah
not-
hair
it's
if
not
I
bad.
could. I would just have the cheetah hair.
I was just scrolling through Discogs from 97. I forgot about, I loved this fucking album, The Conqueror Spitter Swallow.
Is that the one that
Oh yeah, that's another one. That is an awesome.
Fucking
That's a great
great
death and roll kind of.
Yes.
That is a great album.
is that the one that Chris Contos is on? Or
I'm happy you mentioned that because that's a good album.
Well, and the only reason I bought it was because of the chick with the gun in her mouth.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
got into
oh.
that record like 2 years ago.
I was like, I gotta
good.
buy that.
Yeah,
I gotta look because there's one album that I know Contos played drums on. Not that one. Maybe I think it's probably Weed Out the Week.
They're sweet. They're sweet.
Yeah,
right?
Chris Contos. He played on. Well, that's 97. Weed Out the Week. It looks like Spitter Swallows 95.
Oh,
Really?
was it 95?
It came up as 97. And
Dude, that's okay. So here's the thing. When I look up a lot of stuff to like go 97 or whatever we're doing 90, 92, I swear to God, people just start throwing shit in there because I'm like,
I know they do.
yeah. So I don't know if maybe it was like re-released
Probably.
or something like that.
Or on a
people
different
just-
label.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stuff like
Because
that.
I was going through there and they had Sepultura revisions. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It didn't come out
Yeah, you're like
Had
10
to be-
years,
had to be
10 years
re-released,
too
yeah.
late.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for hardcore too, I think I want to just go through some of my favorites. Monuments to Thieves, 15 Counts of Arson, His Hero Is Gone. One of the most underrated one of the most underrated bands, period, because they're one of the best hardcore punk bands of all time. Seasons in the Size of Days by Integrity. It's also probably the last great Integ record. If I'm not mistaken, that's the last one with the Melnicks.
Yeah, that's such a great album.
That's a great album.
Is that the one Doors on?
Doors
Yeah,
on that.
Doors
He's on
on.
Humanity's Devil too.
Yeah, okay.
It's the last record Doors on.
I used to have Humanity's the Devil on cassette. I just saw it on Amazon one day, flipping through, looking at shit. I was like, I had to buy it on CD. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't believe I don't. Went with my CD. I'm
I
like,
would've
don't
given you
fucking
mine. I
have
have
this.
I think
How do I not?
Relapse just re-released.
I would have given you mine. I have the original.
I think Relapse just released those.
Yeah.
Coalesce, Give Them Rope. Coalesce is another 90s band, and they tour with Napalm Death too. in the 90s. Coalesce is that's another relapse band. Kiss It Goodbye, She Loves Me, She Loves You Not. Kiss It Goodbye is one of the greatest metalcore bands ever. Charles Bronson, Youth Attack. Charles Bronson's a classic Chicago hardcore band.
Satisfaction is the death of desire.
I was just going to bring it up. It's the greatest, it's probably the greatest 90s heavy hard. It's the Rain and Blood of hardcore.
Dude, album.
If you say you don't like this record, you're one of two things are going on. Either you are a fucking liar, and you're completely lying, or you're a fucking moron. Those are the two options that you have.
Yeah, I don't care what, I hear people, they talk about Jamie Jasta now, which I think he seems like a really cool dude. He's super knowledgeable. It's not like he's some fucking schmo that just runs his life. That dude was like literally booking fucking like Pyrexia shows back in the day.
We put this on at Paul's house over the summer for a cookout, and I swear to God, everybody was like, "You're 15 years old. The second grade never goes off, and everybody knows every word, every riff. It's the Rain and Blood of hardcore. Yeah. You put it on, you want to beat the shit out of your neighbor, throw a chair through a window, everything. It's amazing. Snapcase, Progression Through Unlearning. That's another great 90s article.
It's
awesome.
I have that CD, and I go through there sometimes, and I'm like, fuck, I forgot I had this. And I just gotta listen to it from beginning.
Saw him with Earth Crisis a year or two ago with my friend Russ. Stay Still brought it. It was amazing. Yeah, nice. It was Disembodied, Diablerie, awesome. Disembodied, our buddy who watches the show, who's part of the NAR group, whose name skips me. Andrew.
Yeah.
Andrew, he messaged me he's like, you been to Disembodied? And I was like, dude, Disembodied is heavy as hell. Great. Another band like Hatebreed. Super heavy. Kickback, Forever War, if you're into the heavy stuff.
Sick of It All.
Sick of It All?
Built to Last.
Built to Last. It's great.
Probably, I don't know if it's top 3 favorite hardcore bands for me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's one bad album.
No.
Did you hear they sued Mobb Deep?
Really?
Recently?
Yeah.
Did you see their fucking logo? There's the Sick of It All logo. And then Mobb Deep was putting out like the dragon, kind of like the tribal dragon. Mobb Deep was putting out like fucking sweatshirts, and it's identical to the fucking Sick of It All logo.
That's pretty bold. I'm pretty sure Prodigy would shoot from Sick of It. You know what's funny about Sick of It All? Mobb Deep, they're both from Queens.
Yeah.
I mean, not from Queensbridge. I'm sure they're both from Queens. I doubt the guys in Sick of It All are from the Queensbridge projects. But
I know Rollins' band has Come In and Burn, which to me is like, first of all, I love the production on it, and I think it's not a hardcore album, but I think just because of Rollins, I'm going to talk about it while we're talking about kind of the hardcore
makes sense,
stuff.
yeah.
But that to me is the last album that is like the real Rollins band, you know, because you still had Haskett, Sim Kane, Melvin Gibbs. Everything after that, where they had, I think Mother Superior was like his band, and it sounded more like MC5, and it's like, okay, it's cool. I mean, they do like a Thin Lizzy cover, and it's not bad, but
I don't like anything he's ever done.
You don't like the Black Flag stuff?
No. I don't like Black Flag.
I mean,
I wasn't ever a punk. To me,
weird. I love Pennywise.
I love Pennywise, but they were heavier than like most punk bands. To me, always sounded too fucking happy. Even though their lyrics weren't, their music sounded. I was like, I wanted something that scared me.
Well, I mean, Hellcrusher Doomsday Hour was 97. That's pretty heavy.
Listen to Poison Idea.
I mean, there was
that shit.
The underground stuff that I was never exposed to. Mm-hmm. I liked Circle Jerks. I liked Pennywise.
Gloom Recommendation of Perdition is by a great Japanese hardcore punk record.
It's funny all the Japanese shit he talks about, and I listen to it. I'm like, dude, this stuff is good. That's I can't believe.
Gauze Kaio Arate Dinashikai. Gauze had a record in 97. I can't pronounce it, but it's good. And that's what, there's a lot of good hardcore records from 97. But again, it's one of those. And Green Day Nimrod came out in 97 too, which is a great.
Well, what's brought up the what was considered the greatest fucking metal album of that year, and that would have been Metallica Reload. I mean,
oh my god. Well,
I totally forgot that was 97. I thought that was 98.
I'm just scrolling through here and saw it. I'm like, are you? Oh god.
What was Fuel? Was that Reload?
Yes.
What else was on that record?
I have no idea. I've never boned it.
AIDS, gonorrhea, fucking
They had to have another. Was Fuel the only single?
Fucking. Oh my god, that album's so fucking.
Pull it up.
Horrible.
What else is on there? What else is
I
on?
don't even know if I want to pull it up. My computer might shut down.
You open the box. We came.
I'm going through this list and I'm seeing all these power metal.
God, the memory remains.
Is that with the old lady?
Yeah, with Marianne Faithfull.
Yeah.
Dude,
La 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 la. That song.
Oh my
that
god,
shit was awful.
So here's the thing, like Load. I don't hate some of the songs on
I think some of the stuff on Load's okay.
I think it's fun, but it's not to me. It's not Metallica.
Yeah. If it was like a different band, I probably would.
What's
Do you know what
No,
that
no.
you know what the cover is?
Yeah, it's Nut with blood in it.
Yeah, fucking blood and semen. It's so stupid.
Well, that's
but
exactly what happens every time I put this fucking record
Yeah.
on Reload. So they should have made the album cover of this.
I literally thought there's no way they could get worse.
Right.
But then they
and they
out
kept getting
Reload, and it's just that fucking album is trash.
First record I ever bought was in 1997, by the way. It was Ixnay and the Ombre by The Offspring.
Dude,
with
look,
my own money. So.
I love The Offspring. I always have. I think they're fun. I think they're a great punk band. I had Smash. I bought that when it came out, which is the one right before this.
Yeah, 94.
Yeah,
And it's the number one selling independent record of all time.
Really?
It's the number one selling independent album of all time.
They're a good band. I mean, they still sound good. It pisses me off because my 13-year-old Wyatt, you guys know Wyatt, but
Right.
I found that he started listening to punk.
Yeah,
and I
in
know.
that playlist, yeah.
So you made a playlist. Justin also made a playlist, so he listens to both. But the other day, I caught him listening to Last Caress,
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Misfits, and stuff. But then, and he was just like, do you like The Offspring? I was like, yeah, I like The Offspring. And they just played it. He said it like the day after they just played a Blossom. And I was like, dude, I would have taken you. And he was so bummed out. But that, the punk stuff that came out, I mean, like, I was never a Green Day fan.
No.
Nimrod's really not a great album. It has Time of Your Life, which is a pretty classic song. And Silverchair Freak Show was also nice, and that's a heavy.
Jesus Christ, you're in love with that album.
Love.
Dude.
And so is Tommy Haywood. That's like it's big.
What was the song that was that Pig Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know who you're talking about.
They're Australian.
Australian like alternative rock band.
They were young too when that
they're
album,
like 15 or 16.
Yeah, when that album came out. But
I'm scrolling through all this, and now 97. I just remember that's when I really started getting into power metal.
yeah, we can do that real quick.
Yeah.
Traditional metal.
Hammerfall, Glory to the Brave. I love that album.
You guys are gonna talk about power metal for a second? I'm gonna grab
Yeah.
a beer. Okay.
Gamma Ray, Somewhere Out in Space. That's one of my favorite power metal albums of all time.
Okay, here's a question.
Fourth Judgment, Jag Panzer.
Jag Panzer.
Come on.
I'm gonna, off the top of your head right now, like gun to the head, Halloween or Gamma Ray?
Halloween.
Okay.
Anthony Biello had Glory to the Brave when we were in high school, and he got into a car accident while he played it. And when it was on, he was superstitious and never played it again.
Really?
I remember being like, thank God you put on that album so I don't have to fucking listen to it anymore in your car.
One of my favorite Malmsteen albums is from them, Facing the Enemy.
That, I think, isn't that the last album?
That was the last album with Cozy Powell.
Cozy Powell. Then he
Yeah.
fucking died on the Autobahn? Or
Yeah. And then I just
Drummer.
watched that Malmsteen interview, and he was talking about after Cozy is when he started using Pro Tools to get drum sounds, because he was like drummers, trying to record drums.
Yeah.
It was too hard. So now he just uses Pro Tools and samples. Drummer comes in and plays, but then he just puts Pro Tools,
Okay.
whatever they call those samples over top of all the drummers.
You know what's crazy about power metal? Honestly, all joking aside, like, it is crazy. Like, metal's so not popular in '97. It's so not in the mainstream, and I think that's maybe what influenced the rise.
Well, I would
of
say
power
the
metal.
wrong type of metal is popular.
Yeah,
The shit that I
right.
don't think we should.
Sure, the stuff that we're omitting.
Yeah.
Saxon Unleash the Beast.
Okay.
Fuck.
That's the first Saxon I ever bought, Unleash the Beast, and it remains my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Every song is fucking amazing. The guitar work on it,
Unbelievable.
dude, that album is insane. But fucking Iced Earth, Days of Purgatory.
I do
where
love Days of Purgatory.
Iron Savior, the first Iron Savior album was
Yeah.
fucking phenomenal.
Who's the guy?
Days of Purgatory in the Capitol.
I was gonna say Days Behind Bars. Or fucking John Schaefer. But no, that's a great album. I fucking love Days of Purgatory. Not a big fan of Sabotage.
I like Sabotage.
Wake of Magellan. I don't like that. That's kind of when I got away from Priest, Jugulator. Big Ripper.
Totally forgot about that.
I love Ripper.
Yeah,
Huge
Ripper's
fan.
great. Yeah,
but
we just saw him recently. At,
his bar had good wings. I mean,
yeah, we saw him at the Empire. Perfect.
You know what no one ever talks about is that Tourniquet album he sang on, Chasing Medusa.
Oh,
I've never heard that.
Holy fuck, that album is
Is it
amazing.
good?
His
I'm sure it's
vocals
good.
on
It's
it
good.
are
He's a great singer.
oh,
is-
and then you got Ted Kirkpatrick doing the fucking.
Now, I will say this: I do
dead.
like
yeah.
I do like Ripper and Priest more than I like Blaze and Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Blaze, Ripper could actually
Do it.
hold his own
Yeah.
with Halford. You know what I mean? I don't mind Blaze. His solo shit.
I'm sure it's good.
It's fucking awesome. I think the one album, Blood and Belief, like some of that stuff is great, but no, I
what an
agree
awful
with you.
position to be in. Too. Like nobody
But
is
dude,
going to enjoy you.
no
being-
one.
No
No
one.
one.
Asked for this.
No.
Jugulator's fucking just not. It's corny lyrics. But when I hear Ripper play, I know with KK's Priest now, they do Burn in Hell. And it sounds cool.
Sounds good, yeah.
The best song on that album to me it will always be Cathedral Spires. I think that album or that song's amazing. And I don't understand why they use this cover for Jugulator, because the other covers I've seen, it's like zoomed out, and it actually looks cool. But I remember when I bought that, I was like, "Why it's so pixelated?"
Yeah, it's horrible.
And it looks like shit,
It does look like shit.
like total shit.
I never got into that.
Yeah, that's one album that we're not gonna. But fucking
Symphony X.
Stradivarius Visions is
Yeah.
another phenomenal. And let's talk about an album that by Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson's solo to me blows away reunion era Maiden.
Accident and Birth.
And
I do love Brave New World, but that's
I
the
do
last
too.
Maiden record I give a fuck about at all.
I like the last album's trash.
I think
You don't
it's
like
still
St.
playing.
Jude's,
I put it on
You don't like
2
St.
months
Jude's.
ago. It's still playing. So
I like the Book of Souls, but to me, it's not really an Iron Maiden album. To me, it's like a different band.
Steve Harris solo.
It's like a Steve Harris solo album more than.
I think the whole damn thing is a Steve Harris solo.
But it's a good. I put it on. I got it on vinyl, and I'll put it on. Put my headphones on, and you can get into it that way. It's not an album to sit there and bang your head to. It's
Yeah.
not a
Well,
bad
to me-
album.
To me, it's
I
like
agree.
Dickinson. He does Tattooed Millionaire, which
Yeah.
I think is not great.
Oh, it's trash.
Balls to Picasso has, to me, it's like 50% amazing, especially Tears of the Dragon, 50% garbage. I love Skunk Works, the next album, which I think is an underrated record for him. But then this,
Yeah.
Accident of Birth, is the album that Iron Maiden should have released
Yeah.
post Seventh Son, as far as I'm concerned. It's better than anything to me post Seventh Son. I think his solo stuff blows away anything Maiden has done post Seventh Son. And I know he's got a new one coming out called the Mandrake Project. And there's like little snippets here, and Roy Z's back.
Well, there you go.
That's why it's and the fucking little snippets I'm just like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm actually excited to hear it, but that album is huge for me because it also has Adrian Smith on it,
Right.
which is another reason why I think it's amazing. And
Well, I think
let me go through my five real quick, and then we'll get Iced Earth, Days of Purgatory, Dickinson, Accident of Birth, Saxon, Unleash the Beast, Wasp. I put it under traditional because it doesn't really
right.
fit. I didn't really want to put it under because Sunset Strip does not fucking exist at this point.
No,
You know, that kind of LA style. But
Kill Fuck Die is awesome.
Kill Fuck Die is like, I always thought I would hate it, and then because it is kind of like a Nine Inch Nails
Right, it's
Wasp,
got industrial type.
but
Yeah.
it's 100% Wasp.
It's one of those albums that a lot of these bands in the 90s, I mean, like Danzig did Black Acid Evil, which is, I mean, unlistenable. I think a lot of bands were trying to do stuff like this at that time, and kind of trying to do the industrial tinge and try to ride that wave. Wasp actually did it in a way that retained it retained their sound and their image, and didn't
And their
hurt
live
them,
show
you know?
around this time was vile. And I remember they were really controversial about the shit that they were doing, like fucking taking a baby and like fucking stabbing it and raping it or something on stage. It was crazy shit. People were like, what is going on?
I mean, Marilyn
But
Manson
then-
around this time was
Yeah, and to me, it was like way more disgusting than what Manson was doing,
and
but
Antichrist Superstar was 97, right?
6.
Was it 96?
Yeah.
Oh, God, we missed it. Damn. That's...
But I know one that he'll agree with, Nocturnal Rites, Tales of Mystery and Imagination.
Fucking perfect album from
Dude.
front to back.
Have you ever heard that?
I never listened to
There's
Nocturnal
this, and
Rites.
then the one after.
Yeah.
I can't. Those two
Those two albums are phenomenal.
back to back.
And then when they got that other singer, I completely lost interest.
Yeah,
Because it didn't sound like them anymore.
exactly. It was just not. This is kind of. It's like on the lines of Hammerfall. It's just a real straightforward. But this to me is way better. And I think the guitar player, his name's Nils Nordberg or something.
Something weird.
Unbelievable guitar player, dude. Just,
But the guy's voice was different than a lot of the other power metal bands that came out.
he was in an old 80s metal band called
Yeah.
Gotham City, believe it or not. And
yeah, he had an 80s vibe
Yeah.
to his vocals and not the more Yosim or whatever his fucking name is from Hammerfall.
oh yeah.
He wasn't like that.
Was like the aggressive yodeling.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, and also, I mean, Rammstein. If we're going like mainstream stuff, back to that, like how do you pronounce this?
Zane Suit.
Saint Suit.
Yeah, Zane Suit. Zane Zoot, I don't know. Probably Zane Zoot.
It means shitty band in German.
I've never minded them. I think they've just always been Rammstein, you know what I mean?
I mean, it was a big record. I mean, it's the closest to the new metal probably we're going to talk about on this.
Yeah, because I don't.
But I mean, aside from that, I mean, Doom, Church of Misery Volume 1, and Come My Fanatics, Electric Wizard, which is really, everybody talks about Dope Throne. This is my favorite Electric Wizard full length.
Yeah, and you know what's you're probably gonna kill me. I've never been a fan of Church of Misery. I don't know. It just something about, because I always loved Japanese, like anything Japanese, and then when it comes to Church of Misery, I'm like, it's all right. You know, people are like, what?
That's appalling.
But I got Come My Fanatics. Is the greatest thing.
Acrimony.
Fu Manchu, The Action Is Go.
Oh, yeah. I like stoner now, so
that's surprising. Action Is Go, produced by Jay Younger from White Zombie. It's a classic album. And I gave Ethan my fucking poster that was like this long, it was the skate, the album cover, and it was like this big, and it was like this long. It was like The Action Is Go. And he was like, dude, can I have that? And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, you can have it. But I regret that. Acrimony, Tumuli, Shroom-a-Room.
Awesome.
Which it's a legendary stoner album. I like Hymns to the Stone better, the one that came out before it. That doesn't get any love at all.
It doesn't. It probably is better.
Slow Burn, Amusing the Amazing, fucking killer. Fall from Grace, that I know a lot of people never heard of, okay? But if you heard of Ex-Hoarder, then you probably heard Fall from Grace. So it was Jay Cervolo from Ex-Hoarder.
Okay.
And I think what happened, if you read, because there was something weird going on, I think he was looking for somebody to be in Ex-Hoarder after Kyle left, or was however they broke up. So he was going to get this guy named Will Burris, But I think Will Burris was like, well, why don't you just come over here? And they formed this album, which I think is one of the coolest fucking albums I've ever. And it is sludgy. It's got like stoner stuff in it. It's not new metal at all. It's total Louisiana, like New Orleans style. But it's fucking killer. And then Orange Goblin had Frequencies from Planet 10, which is...
And Iron Monkey.
One of my absolute favorite fucking
Iron Monkey, self-titled 97. The album's so heavy it killed Phil Anselmo because he overdosed on tour during this.
Really?
Yep. When this album was released, they were on tour for Great Southern Trendkill, and he overdosed while listening to the first Iron Monkey. Earache came very close to putting that on a sticker, by the way.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
The first Iron Monkey record is so...
Oh, it's so good.
That dude's dead, too.
John Morrow is dead. But it's such an... It's dirty as hell. Its riffs are great. One of the best sludge albums ever.
Yeah, that's what that album got me into sludgy stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, this album's fucking amazing. Ethan played it for me.
I think for extreme metal fans, I know a lot of, obviously if you're in a stoner and a lot of doom metal fans maybe didn't like the vocals.
Yeah.
But extreme metal fans could totally get into the vocals.
Which is fucked up because I Hate God.
That is bizarre.
And I like Buzz Oven, and I like, you know what I mean, Grief.
John's vocals were a little bit more abrasive than...
He sounded like a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about
Yeah, it did sound unhinged, for sure.
Yeah. I always liked that the bands, the singers sounded like they weren't home. You know?
Yeah,
like the singer for Dead Guy.
Yeah,
He always sounded like he was fucking nuts. Sam Black Church, that guy always had a crazy voice and just sounded like a lunatic. But Ethan, when he turned me on to that Iron Monkey, he also turned me on to Scissor Fight.
Oh, Scissor Fight's good.
And it took me forever to get into that guy's voice because he doesn't really sing. He just kind of like melodically talks.
Yeah.
But the music was so fucking
We went and saw Orange Goblin and Scissor Fight in Columbus, Ethan and I. And the venue's not there anymore. And I can't remember what album Orange Goblin was. Maybe Coup de Grace or the one after that. And I'll be honest, that's kind of when I got out of... To me, I love the first three Orange Goblin because it's heavy on the stoner and the fuzzed out.
Right.
And then when Coup de Grace came on, it was more like Motorhead-ish.
Yeah.
And it's not that I think it's horrible, but I just think the early shit was better. And but we did see Scissor Fight. They opened up at that show, and I remember it being cool. I used to have a Scissor. I think I still have a Scissor Fight shirt.
I still have their CD, but I don't have another merch.
But that Electric Wizard is
it's
legendary.
Totally fantastic.
Totally legendary. But we got to get into black metal.
I think off the top, Blizzard Beasts, Immortal.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, Mountains of Might. It's one of the best songs they ever wrote. I think it's so morbid, angelish. I think it's when Immortal started to actually incorporate a lot more thrash and death metal into their sound too. Yeah. And I think it separates them a little bit from the rest of the black metal bands. I love Damned in Black. They came out in 2000 too. Like they really added more to their sound than a lot of the other bands did. I had Lord Belial too. Enter the Moongate.
Yep.
I love Lord Belial.
Under the Moonlight.
Great.
It's a great Swedish black metal album. I think Borknagar, Olden Domain.
Yep.
Love me some Borknagar.
They're probably one of my absolute favorite bands of all time. Every fucking album's
every album's
phenomenal.
good.
Yeah.
Garm is still on vocals on that, right?
Well, he's on the last.
Was he on
that one?
Vocals?
Yeah. The Olden Domain, right? Yeah, he's on that. It was Archaic Course whenever they got
ICS Vortex.
Vortex, yeah.
I had Enthroned, Towards the Skull Throne of Satan. Enthroned is pretty underrated black metal band. And they're kind of the war. I think a lot of more of the war type black metal at wherever that
They're from Belgium, aren't they?
They're
I think
insanely fast.
Yeah, super fast drumming.
Yeah.
Destroyer 666, like you said, on Chain the Wolves, that like black thrash kind of style. But I have the top one for my year is Ulver, Nothing's Magical.
Yeah.
That record was so. I remember when I was into black metal, I was younger, hearing about the lore, like the folklore around that record, like they recorded in the woods, and which is not true. But it's the most for like primitive Norwegian black metal. The production is. People always talk about Transylvanian Hunger. I think Nonsense by Oliver is the perfect production. If you want to do a raw black, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's a good
trying to
album.
think.
And it goes to show you that you don't have to have shitty people that don't know what they're being, just not caring.
Right.
These guys really know about sound, know how to make music, and they purposely made a great lo-fi record.
It's the only Oliver album I like.
Isn't
that the album that
it's the only Oliver album a lot of people like.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, okay, so for me, like Bergtot and this Kveldesvanger, whatever, the two before it, I think are better. But this one,
that Veld album is just a folk album, though.
yeah. But Bergtot is, I think, phenomenal.
Awesome.
But
My favorite's Perdition City, so if you really want to get, I like New Oliver, but I like music like that. So
that's more like, that's when they kind of started doing like the Depeche Mode-ish.
it's like it's ambient, experimental.
Yeah.
So,
But that Nottens, I remember it could be this. I remember reading an interview with one of the guys from the band that Century Media gave them a check, paid them, said go record an album. And the guy, like, they went and took it and bought a car.
Yeah, bought a car.
And then they had no money left. So they recorded it, and that's why it sounds as fucking...
There's a lot of folklore around there. It was cool. I think Sacramentum, Coming Chaos. Sacramentum's a sentimental band now for me. It's where I met my girlfriend Taylor at a Sacramentum show. So I like Sacramentum a lot more than I used to.
What, now?
Yeah.
You met Taylor?
At a Sacramentum show.
At that recent, how was it?
It was good. I mean, yeah. It's my favorite show of all time now. But that's like, it was cool. That's a good, Coming Chaos is a good record. So.
It is. Absu, The Third Storm of Keith Raw, however you say it. Fucking awesome.
Yeah, what you can't say about Absu. I like every fucking album they put out.
Literally, yeah.
Literally. I mean, there's nothing wrong that ever went. It's their albums to me are flawless.
Yeah. I think Absu is also one of the most consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, I also like how they just ended. I like how he was like, it's just done. I'm done with it.
But he's doing
Absu.
Absu now.
Good.
Which is just as fucking good.
Yeah.
And yeah, you ever
Third Storm, this is a great album. That's definitely, that's what kind of more like the black thrash
kind of
too that they had.
The first album is black and death metal. Then
that
Barathrum, yeah, I love that album. But then the Son of Tipthareth or whatever, and then this one, they're tops for me.
Yeah, they're a good band.
I remember getting the album, how do you say, Tara, probably. And the fucking book was so thick, I couldn't get it out of the CD case. I was like, how the fuck am I... Dude, it's so thick.
He's an eccentric guy, so...
Did you ever see the video of him auditioning for Slayer?
No.
Dude, it's
really
insane.
He's standing there with Kerry King. Kerry King's like playing the riffs, and Proscriptor is playing so fucking fast. I mean, dude, and Kerry King's like
I think
he's like, what the fuck?
If I remember correctly, Kerry says, "So, what songs did you learn?" And or what song do you want to play? And he's like, "Any of them." He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Play. You pick any Slayer song and I'll play it." He learned the entire fucking catalog.
He's an interesting cat.
But they said, I think Gary was like, he said he was a fucking weirdo.
He's fucking totally. He's not playing with a full.
I would love to meet and hang out with that fucking dude. It'd be a riot.
They came to Pittsburgh maybe 10 years ago or something. I remember saying something to you about it, and we just never went. But I regret not going.
I seen him with
you fucker, son of a bitch.
I remember the guy with the blonde hair.
Equitan.
He's awesome, but he was creepy fucking.
Doesn't he own that Black Montana's now that does like their
t-shirts and shit?
Yeah.
I just remember watching him on stage being like, that guy's fucking creepy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't talk. He looked real shy, but he would look like he was someone who would be like eating someone heart right before the show.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine when Prescriptor
backstage.
He's like, I like it medium rare. When I got Tara and heard Prescriptor singing over those songs and playing drums like that, it was fucking insane.
Yeah, dude. And to know that they're one of my favorite black metal bands of all time, and they're from Texas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
From Texas.
Fuck you, Norway.
Yeah.
It's they're
I never really considered it. It's Greek black metal, but this Rotting Christ, a Dead Poem, which I love, but it's not.
kind of moving away from.
It's a different idea of black metal, I guess, because it's not. I mean, Rotting Christ is Rotting Christ. It's Greek black metal, but a Dead Poem is great. Old Man's Child, Pagan Prosperity.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Still one of my favorite songs.
That was you
of all time.
You that put it on, and you were like, "Yeah, you ever hear this song?" And I'm like, I remember seeing it at the store, and I was like, "No." And you put it on, I was like, "Holy shit, dude! Fucking
cool.
riffs."
Oh, the riffs and the drumming,
Mhm.
everything about that album was just.
I always thought Old Man's Child was better than Dimmu.
I've always liked it better than Dimmu.
So Dimmu to me, I never liked For All Tid, and what was the other one?
Stormblast.
Stormblast. Well, I'm a big fan. Enthroned is fucking amazing.
I
So
never really was a huge Dimmu Borgir fan, honestly. To be
that Spiritual Black Dimensions, those two, I think are phenomenal.
I had Babylon Horrors, Cold Heaven. Babylon Horrors is an underrated.
That's like
band.
Death and Roll.
It is. Yeah, it is more like I think
or Black and Roll, or what you want to call it.
Definitely. I think underrated too. Almost reminds me more of like what the Carpathian Forest kind of became with Nada Frost, when Nada Frost kind of went on its own, more punk kind of sound. Emperor Anthems to the Welcome to Dusk is, I call it a classic album, but again, I don't like it as much as Nice. I like the demos by Emperor more. Wrath of the Tyrant is my favorite.
And I think we've talked about it before. That
I'm usually not that kind of guy, but
I'm not an Emperor guy.
In the Nightside Eclipse to me is the greatest black metal album ever.
Really?
Yeah. In my opinion, I remember when I first bought it, I just bought it that day. I went with Matt Sorg, and we went to John McKenty's house up in Cleveland, because there was a band. They played there was a show. We went to the show. This band showed up late, so they went to John's place to play for all of us in John's basement.
Oh, okay.
And Tom Rojak was there, and it was all death metal guys. So the cassette player was sitting there playing, whatever it was, and it stopped, and no one was paying any attention. So I took that in the Nightside Eclipse CD, cassette I had, and put it in, hit play, and I watched Rojak just go, and looked at me and gave me the fucking horns. And I think me, him, and Matt were probably the only three people sitting there, oh, fuck yeah, this rules. Everybody else was kind of like, what the hell is that? Noisy shit. But it was awesome.
I think that Anthems is, I don't know, man. It just, they've never been a big band on my black metal.
It's a classic record. I don't ever listen to it. I've never been a huge Emperor fan.
No, and everybody loves Emperor, so it's like I'm in the minority.
As soon as fall hits and winter starts coming around, I listen to In the Nightside Eclipse continuously.
I'm a big Wrath of the Tyrant. Fan. One of the few bands I think I like their demos. Even In the Nightside, I like In the Nightside Eclipse.
You're gonna be that guy.
But I think they're one of the few bands I think where their raw production didn't work very well for them. I think In the Nightside Eclipse is a cool record, but I think I almost and this is weird for me to say because I like Confused albums, but it's I like all the raw grind and stuff. I love it, but one of the few albums I think they should have had better production on that record.
See, I love the production. I think it's so atmospheric, and so
it is atmospheric for sure. Yeah,
I remember listening to it the first time and I thought, what the fuck?
Yeah,
But then I was just listening to it in my car, but then I've listened to it with headphones on.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I get it. After the first playthrough, I was like, I get it.
I've heard that when you listen to it in certain formats, it actually does sound.
To me, it was the most atmospheric of that shit. That came out.
And there's a whole style of black metal that bands like Vargrov and a lot of those Finnish bands now coming out do that style is really Emperor kind of created a whole style.
If I were to pick an Emperor to listen to, it would be Anthems, just because of the first song,
the Curse You All Men.
What is that? Ye and Transiperium, that like intro, and when it gets to the end, and then it starts the next. I think it's
9 Equilibrium. I really didn't care for.
No, I didn't like that at all. But I Am the Black Wizards. Come on, that's got to be the greatest black metal song of all time.
Yeah, it's in the conversation. I mean,
what do you think about? So I always loved Enslaved. So Eld was 90s. I always loved that album.
another band I really just didn't.
I liked Frost.
To me,
Yeah,
That was
Frost and Eld, I think, are the perfect
yeah.
pair. But Thy Serpent, Lords of Twilight,
Thy Serpent.
Finnish band, great stuff. I'm gonna mention a band that I always tell people about. They put 2 albums out, and I think it's, if you like Dissection, listen to Abyssos, Together We Summon the Dark. It's Dissection, but it's just all about vampires.
Right. I got that album.
And
Swedish
Cardinal
dudes.
Sin. I mean, Cardinal Sin is John's brother's band.
Okay,
Cardinal Sin was another great thrash kind of band too.
But this is like Abyss. They put out 2 albums, this and the one after, which is actually rated better. But I don't know if it's like Finstanian Nightbreed or something.
Yeah.
I like this one a little better than the next one. But this one is, dude, this thing's great.
It's an amazing album.
Great keyboards. I mean, it's literally like Dissection. It's like if you were watching Lost Boys while you were, or Interview with a Vampire while you were listening to Dissection. That's kind of what this is. But the album.
Every time I watch Lost Boys, I end up listening to Dissection. So.
The albums that were big for me in '97, and it was like a pivotal year, which I think we met in '97 or '98.
98, I believe. Yeah.
It was a Third Eye Blind record.
Because
Yeah, it was backstage.
my daughter was born in '97 and she was 1. I think.
Just a little bit, yeah.
She was
So,
a baby.
but so he turned me on to. I mean, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have heard a lot. I mean, Absu,
Yeah.
because you played Absu, Son of Teferet, for me, stuff like that.
And your
But
favorite album of all time came out in '97, which is Cryptic Writings.
that fucking piece of shit.
Honestly, we got to do this really quick. Cryptic Writings or Reload, which one's worse? And that's really difficult.
Reload. Reload's worse. To
I'm
me.
gonna say Reload too, because Cryptic Writings had a song on WCW Nitro that I thought, didn't they have Crush 'Em on?
That's on Risk.
Shit, maybe it is Cryptic Writings is worse.
No, Cryptic
Trust
Writings
is on.
Trust is on. Almost Honest.
Wait, is Trust
Is
on
it
Cryptic
She
Writings?
Wolf? Yeah.
Then yeah, Reload's worse.
So when he came out with Euthanasia, which I fucking love,
Love Euthanasia too.
but he was like, Dave was like, this is our like mainstream album. The next album's going to be heavier. Well, it's fucking flipped.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because Cryptic Writings is like the mainstream album, and Euthanasia was heavier to me, and I would never own it, but he signed it when we saw Ozfest '98, and I took that up there, and that's when he signed it, and then that was like the classic story where he signed a shirt, and it was at Best Buy in Canton. Remember that used to be in Belton Village, and afterwards, like we waited, the whole line went through, signed everything, and then he went and did like a spot for 106.9 or something, and he came out kind of like when you walk in and there's like the Geek Squad area now.
Right. Yeah.
So he came out and we were like, Dave, can we get just a quick pic? And he fucking threw his hands up, rolled his eyes, huffed and puffed, and he was like, hurry the fuck up, I have shit to do. And I took my shit and just fucking chucked it at him. The fucking shirt hit him. I was like, fuck you. And the dudes I was with, I still have the shirt because the dudes I was with.
And
were like,
in his book, I must say, he actually spin kicked you and roundhoused you.
Well, you got to take a drink now because he mentions he's a black belt like every other fucking sentence.
Really?
You know, he's like, Gar Samuelson died of leukemia. Did I mention I was a black belt? It's ridiculous. But that, I fucking hate that. To me, Euthanasia is it. But then they did, was that Endgame, maybe? Which kind of came back and was good. But the last album, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, dude, it's fucking awesome, dude.
It's my favorite Megadeth album.
You know who the guitar player is now?
Oh, yeah, it's the dude from...
Dude from Winter's Son.
Oh, I thought it was the dude from Angra.
Yeah, no, he went, I guess he lives in, I don't know, Norway or Sweden, somewhere in Europe, but he went to be with his family. He was just like, probably away for too long, and So kind of sounded weird to me because he was like, so I mentioned the Winter Sun guy, I can't remember his name, but now that dude's in the band, and then Dave's like, holy shit, this guy, he fits the band perfectly. So I'm kind of thinking now that Kiko is going to be gone, and this guy is the guy from Winter Sun. Who knows? But if you're going to see him talk about Load or Reload and Cryptic Writings, he mentioned a band that I absolutely agree with. The fucking biggest piece of shit band. Fucking Deftones. Fuck them.
God.
Fuck the fans.
You know
I don't
what,
understand
man?
that whiny little bitch.
You know what? Honestly,
Chino.
I this is, and I'm really happy that if this is what you have to listen to get laid, like that's really what's. Let's cut to the chase. The only reason people say they like this band is because they're trying to get laid.
Yeah.
And
Or
God
they
bless
fist
you if you're getting,
themselves.
it's absolutely terrible. Everything about it sucks.
I never
It's no
got
redeeming
what
value.
the fucking deal was with those guys.
His whiny fucking.
And didn't the bass player die and they made a big fucking to-do like he was like this great fucking bass player? So I'm like, I'm gonna go listen to their shit.
I don't know,
and I'm
because
listening
you know
to it,
who-
I'm like,
Because the bass player now, well, I don't think he's in the band anymore, but it's the dude Sergio who was in Quicksand with Walter from Gorilla Biscuits and Youth of Today. Youth of Today, which are two great bands, and I love Quicksand, but fuck the dude. This whole era, like that Limp Bizkit piece of shit album that came out, because that's why I was saying, like, metal was big, but it was the wrong type of that shit.
I'd rather listen to 9 Lives by Aerosmith than any Deftones record. That's an easy decision.
Dude,
That's like
there's some Geezer, Black Science. That's a great album.
Great album. Geezer's great.
Great album.
Carnival of Souls, Kiss.
Dude, I love Kiss.
It's not bad. Carnival of Souls. It's one.
Have you ever heard that album?
It's one of the few albums I think Bruce shines on Carnival. So
It's
you really
like-
hear a lot more.
People consider it their grunge album. It's not. It's just super heavy. It's dark. What was the one song on the radio? Jungle,
Yeah.
I think.
I
I think it's fucking great, dude.
Also-
It's got a lot of groove to it. It doesn't sound like
I know you're a
Kiss
big
album.
Creed guy. My Own Prison.
Dude. Have you ever seen his?
His video where he was drunk and he like started going. Have you ever seen that video where he was like wasted, like talking about aliens and like the FBI and shit?
No.
Oh, it's fucking great.
Have you seen him do the Florida Marlins?
Oh,
the
yeah.
song back in the day.
Yeah.
no.
What does he sing?
Marlin Soar? Or something?
Yeah. It was like, let's go Marlins, make us proud. Dude, it's so fucking embarrassing. And you want to talk about embarrassing, talk about fucking Generations.
Oh my God. Generation Swine or Reload?
Generation Swine's worse.
Generation Swine's 100 times worse.
Were you just trying to swipe up on
Yeah.
with your finger?
Generation Swine is. I do like. You know, speaking of new metal though, I guess maybe this is new metal. I like the first Seven Dust record.
Okay, here's the thing.
I like the guy's voice. That's what I like.
Yeah,
about him.
Seven Dust. We went out. I had a buddy that bought that album. Okay, 97, and I was like, "What is this?" You know, he put it on. I thought, "Holy shit, this is like really catchy." It's not new metal. It's
What's
just
new
a
metal? It was
different
marketed as that
type of like modern metal album. But you remember B.B. McLean's in North Canton or in Belton Village? They played there.
Oh,
They were like, Seven Dust is playing B.B. McLean's. We're like, the dance club? So we went, and it was the night before I turned 18. And it's an 18 and over club. And we walked up, and we all had tickets, and the guy at the door was like, dude, I'm 17. I turned 18 literally in a couple hours. And he was like, just come on in. And there was like maybe 10 people there. And LaJohn Witherspoon, the whole band was sitting at the bar. And they were like the fucking coolest dudes. They were super nice. They were all talking about old school metal and stuff. And they got up, and it was, dude, it was killer.
The drummer from Seven Dust married the girl from Coal Chamber.
Yeah, I remember that.
Really?
Yeah.
And isn't one of the dudes in that band, isn't his brother in that shitty Fozzy
Yeah.
band with Chris Jericho, who's literally that's the biggest joke band.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started. But
I remember seeing commercials for the 7S record on Loud when we were really young on Much Music, and that's how I remember hearing about it. I remember getting into it. But that's it's there's been as far as Great Southern not Great 101 Proof by Pantera. That's classic. We don't really talk about live albums much.
What are the studio tracks on that? There were some good. Like a couple.
There were a couple. I forget what they were. But there were a couple studio tracks. I think they did a cover too.
But I remember I remember going to Quonset Hut and buying that Motley Crue album.
Yeah.
And because my favorite Crue album is the fucking '94 self-titled.
I remember seeing it on played on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, and that to me is the heaviest thing they ever did. When you read The Dirt, the guys in the band are like, John Corabi brought out the best. It's the best written album we ever did. Like, we played better. Everybody, like, as a bit, because he wasn't Vince Neil, he was a musician.
Yeah, right. He had songs.
Yeah, and he knew how to play. He knew how to sing. And so I thought they got Vince back in the band. That fucking Shout 97 was garbage.
Yeah.
Fucking bouncy. And I just thought, man, it can't be that bad. I remember my buddy and I we were driving around and we was just silent. And I was like, went through the whole album. What was the song Brandon that Tommy Lee sings to his kid? And
it's probably the worst.
There's one song, I can't remember. God, what's the name of the song?
Wallace scream that song.
Oh my God, the one song Ryan Adams helped write.
I'm sure it's
Bryan
great.
Adams.
Bryan Adams, Glitter. Bryan Adams. I'm sorry, I love Ryan Adams.
Bryan Adams is
Bryan
amazing.
Adams. Yeah, Bryan Adams is great too.
Wrote Kiss songs.
But he wrote
some of the best Kiss songs.
Mm-hmm.
On
Believe it or not, you know that?
Rock and Roll Hell. He wrote War Machine.
He wrote
Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hell.
Rock and Roll Hell. Yep.
I just got a lot more respect for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wrote.
Glitter's probably the best song on the record, honestly.
But dude, fucking Brandon, oh my God.
I didn't like anything they did after Girls.
Didn't he beat his kids too?
Who, Bryan Adams?
No. Maybe he does.
No, well, I don't know if he beat
right
his
now,
kids.
Bryan Adams like, you fucking told him. He's like really getting it out.
No, but there was that recent video of Tommy Lee, like recently, with the past couple of years, and like his kid Brandon, I think, comes in the room and just fucking knocks them out.
Yeah, you did.
Remember that shit?
Yeah, I do.
I guess he probably finally heard the song.
And was like, you motherfucker.
Fucking piece of shit. Somebody said something the other day.
I remember him posting something about how, I got my ass beat by my kid or some shit like that. That's...
Tommy Lee is like the worst kind of human being.
Yeah.
I was talking, I was at my buddy Jay's house, and he was saying that Tommy Lee had a Starbucks in his house at one time. He had like a fucking full functional like Starbucks.
You have employees there?
I was like, you know what else he had? I was like, you know what else he had in his house? And he was like, no. And I was like, he had a dead kid drowning in his pool. Yeah, don't you remember that? He had like a big birthday party and some fucking little kid just like died in his pool. I was just fucking floating.
Oh my God.
And everybody's like sitting there partying, and the fucking kids just...
How are they such rotten? They're like effortlessly rotten people.
Yeah, dude, it's like, even after it's like...
They're like, honestly, you can say whatever you want about like rock star world. They're literally like the worst human beings on earth, and then Mick Mars.
They probably didn't even.
And then Mick Mars is like an average guy.
Yeah, Mick Mars is.
He's like at Subway.
Well, remember reading The Dirt? Everybody else, all this shit going on, and Mick Mars is like in his mansion with no furniture, just like sitting there. Everybody else is like that fucking like toddlers drowning in their fucking backyard.
Like bone cancer. They're making him.
Dying of cancer.
The guy's fucking
killing
6
people
pounds.
in car accidents.
They probably did nothing. They probably gave him cancer. They probably didn't do shit for him either. They're awful fucking people.
Tommy Lee probably saw that kid drowning and was just like, God damn it.
He started
get
laughing.
the fucking kid out. I'm going to be blamed for this. Who let the kid in the pool? Horrible, dude.
He probably started going to his piano like, I'm gonna write a song about this floating kid. I'm gonna name it Brandon.
Kid went home sweet home.
Oh.
Horrible, dude.
Oh my god, that's
I think it was after Generation Swine came out, so he kind of deserves everything.
Well, speaking of disgusting, rotten things, Flesh Grind, brutal death metal. There's two great brutal death metal records from '97.
I think from Chicago.
Yeah, well, from Illinois. Destined for Defilement by Flesh Grind, awesome record, and Moral Decay, sickening erotic fanaticism.
You like Mortal Decay?
Yeah, Moral Decay is great.
I had their one demo. The ones had the silver cover on it, and I don't have it anymore, but I have a picture of me, one of my first shows ever. I got a Mortal Decay sticker on my bass.
Yeah.
They fucking would do anything to have that sticker back. But that demo was
I have that shirt.
fucking amazing.
Was it Grizzly?
Yeah, Grizzly Aftermath.
Is that the silver colored one?
Yeah, it should be one.
No, that's not the one I was thinking of. That one.
Grizzly Aftermath. Sweet.
Yeah.
This is
Brutalizing Creations is good
nice.
too.
Nice.
Titties.
Yeah, sickening erotic
rated G
fanaticism.
album cover.
It's a great. That was an easy one that we had to bring home to mom and dad.
Yeah.
She's just hanging out.
Yeah.
So.
I did write down some of the big albums for me from '97 was Dismember Death Metal.
Yeah.
Probably also the first one I got.
Yeah.
That I bought, but the first one I heard was when you played Like an Ever-Flowing String.
That's
Entombed,
my favorite Dismember album.
Entombed, To Ride, Shoot Straight, Speak the Truth.
Love it.
Album rules.
Dimmu, Enthroned, The Gathering, Nighttime Birds that I love. Rotting Christ, A Dead Poem, Electric Wizard. And then, even though it's not anywhere near my favorite, I listened to Testament and Demonic.
Demonic's good.
Trying to figure out what the fuck they were doing, but I don't mind the album.
Yeah.
The song John Doe is great.
It's cool. Chuck Billy's vocals are a little bit of a pill to swallow on it.
Just too much.
Is that where he was trying to do all death metal vocals?
Yeah. It's just a little too much, but...
I like how he mixes it up now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you like all the newer Testament stuff?
Yeah, I do. Titans of Creation is a fucking phenomenal album. Was DiGiorgio's bass playing on it? Jesus Christ. Watch the playthrough videos of him playing those songs on bass.
Yeah, he's a good bass player.
He's my favorite extreme bass player. And
You know how stupid I am? I never knew he was on Severed Survival.
Yeah.
I never knew that because I was watching As in Hell, the group with Michael Poulsen and Mark, I don't know if you say probably Grua or Greva or whatever from Morgoth. Their new project called As in Hell. I'm going to fucking street team the hell out of it because that album absolutely rolls from beginning to end. And but they did this video where they gave some of their favorite death metal albums. I think they just did, in the drummer, I can't remember, I think his name's Morton something possibly. But they each gave like their top two. And one of them, it's funny because Mark from Morgoth was like, oh yeah, Autopsy. Yeah, we played with him back in like 90. I'm like, fucking hell, man, you know, but, and he was just, I guess Steve DiGiorgio was on Severed Survival, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
And I looked, and yeah, he wasn't in the band, but I guess he was just on the album. I never knew that.
And then he had Freeway, who did bass for, in Autopsy was in Immortal Fate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's, Chris had a few bass players over the years. So I think the guy they have now, he's been in the band for a while. But yeah, I mean, it's overall pretty good year. I think we covered pretty much everything. So I think it's been a good...
It is. I don't think there's going to be shit that we left behind, I'm sure. We kind of went through the... You don't like Outcast?
Creator?
Creator's my favorite thrash metal band, and that was trash.
I never put it.
Outcast, Renewal, and what's the other one?
They had an industrial type record too that was awful.
Yeah.
There's Cause for Conflict.
Those three albums, I don't even consider those Creator albums. I don't own them. I don't listen to
Outcast, them. Outcast is just like riffs. But I actually really like Cause for Conflict and Renewal now after listening to them. But Yeah, I don't know.
I think top album of '97 probably what you probably say Mountain Prison. Agreed.
Oh my god, dude.
If you haven't gotten a chance, definitely check out the Marlins video of Scott Stapp. It's
Jesus,
very.
I'm surprised you've never seen that, dude.
It's fantastic.
He gets all emotional. Have you ever seen it?
No.
He says Marlins soar. Marlins don't fly.
Marlins make me sore. Sore? They're fish, bro. They're fucking sore.
Well, they jump
man.
out of the water a bit.
In his defense, he was drunk. So
I'm surprised you didn't bring up Strapping Young Lads.
Strapping Young Lad City is an underrated.
I
I like that album now. I did not like it when I was younger.
Really?
Tommy Haywood was really into Strapping Young Lad. So was
I
Anthony.
figured that's something you would be.
I think
I
that's
like
the,
it now.
It's
Okay.
the only Strapping Young Lad album I like.
I'll be honest with you, I'm the same.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever topped it.
No.
I like a lot because Devin Townsend has, I think his Ocean Machine album came out, which he's such a weird guy. There's so many great albums or great songs, or it's weird. I wish I could go through each album and take the songs I like and make those into albums, because there's a lot of stuff that I can't get into. But that Strapping Young Lad, I think, is.
I remember
perfect.
getting it on cassette.
Gene Hoglan on drums.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
I think
went into Kwanzaa Hut and the fucking dude that was in there was playing it, and I walked in. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Something Wild by Bodum. That's a pretty big album for '97. So, but yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, this isn't like.
But you didn't talk about Shadows Fall.
Oh God. They just got back together, I guess.
The band Shadows Fall.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because they Somber Eyes to the Sky, isn't that
Yeah.
97? I'm just. How about Queensryche here in the Now Frontier?
That's one of the worst fucking albums ever.
Because I know you're not really a Queensryche guy.
No, I mean not really.
I
Fistful
think
of Alice
you
too,
would
by
be.
Cooper.
With what?
Fistful of Alice by Cooper.
That was his box set,
Yeah.
which is a great collection of stuff. But I think you'd like the early Queensryche stuff.
I do like early Queensryche. I just don't. After what is it? Operation Mindcrime, I kind of lose.
See,
I'm Promised Land. That's my last
Yes.
album.
good. I love Empire.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I used to hate Promised Land.
Yeah.
Now I love it.
Love it.
I think it's fucking awesome.
It's
this
like-
piece of shit.
Yeah, that's absolute trash.
Fuck that album. From that
Yeah.
all the way up to right when they got Todd and that self-titled came out, dude, like 20 years of just straight fucking
Trash.
AIDS and like chunky diarrhea every album.
Yeah. It's,
Horrible, dude.
Shit biscuits.
Yeah, dude. And then that self-titled came out, but this album, and that shit was all over the radio. What was it? Sign of the Times, I think was the song. I hated that.
So bad.
It was a sign of the times because they
yeah, it was. I mean, in
sold
hindsight,
out.
it's pretty prophetic song title.
Yeah, but it is. I think this is a weird year in that with as much shit that came out,
There was some great stuff.
there's still some good stuff to. I mean,
I think just a lot of classic bands releasing some very questionable records, but a lot of good bands releasing some solid records.
yeah. I think that with. What would you say your maybe top 2 or 3 of the entire any genre?
The entire year, I would go off the top of my head. Brutal Truth, Sounds of the Animal Kingdom, Dismember, Death Metal, and then if I had to really pick a third one, I would go Inside the Torn Apart by Napalm Death. 4, I would go Fearless and Dead Machines by Deceased, because I
Okay.
still love that record a lot. And then if I had to pick a 5th, I would have to, honestly, man, I would have to go Hatebreed. Because I think it's just a classic
My
record.
5, I would choose Electric Wizard, Come My Fanatics, probably God Dethroned. Jesus Christ, I don't even. Saxon, Unleash the Beast, probably In Flames, Horacle. I don't even know what I would do for my 5th one, man. Honestly,
You have Cryptic Writings, you have Reload, you have 9 Lives. I mean,
my God.
9 Lives is better than all of those records. 9 Lives actually isn't bad. Pull up 9 Lives really quick. Let's see what tracks are on this. What do we got? What are we rocking with here? With
Dude, it's pretty bad.
it's I don't know. You have
Falling in Love.
Fallen Loves, yeah. Okay.
Pink,
Pink.
Look at the fucking dude. There's so many different songwriters. They didn't even write their own
They're
shit.
busy. They're busy guys. They have
Deadly
lives.
Child.
They have Hole in My Soul. Come on, man.
Yeah, no, fuck this shit. Pink. It's my favorite color. I remember hearing that and I thought,
Pink. That song was kind of annoying.
I'm like, this is just fucking horrible. But my fifth one, I don't know, dude. Probably, it would be hard. Maybe, oh my God, Absu, The Third Storm, or Accident of Birth. Just too much good stuff, man. You're really stuck in this 9 line.
I want to see how many records it sold.
I don't know if it says reception.
It's probably triple platinum.
Well, it's Aerosmith in that era.
Pink was a big song, man.
He fucked his vocals up big time. Like his
United States
there we
double platinum.
Jeez.
Yeah, what do you got to say about that, smart ass? Huh?
Yeah, well, that just means 2 million people have.
Pink is the color of a double platinum
I
record.
need to get the fucking dick
Baby.
out of here.
You know?
Horrible. Horrible.
I just realized that Godspeed You Black Emperor, that F sharp, A sharp came out in that.
Godspeed You Black Emperor's a good band.
I was
You
trying
like
to think
it?
of non-metal albums for that year.
I couldn't even. My God.
But that was a great album.
Speaking of non-metal too, I'm a big Our Lady Peace fan. So Clumsy, also 97.
Wu-Tang Forever.
Wu-Tang Forever is one of the greatest hip hop records of all time.
Fucking
And my mom bought me Wu-Tang Clan socks.
Helmet Aftertaste, which I think is the last Helmet that I truly love. I wouldn't even know what else came out that year.
Dude, Shania Twain, come on over.
Jesus Christ. There's your third eye blind.
There it is.
I'm going to say it. I don't give a shit. Oasis. I love Oasis.
Okay, well, that was. Let's wrap it up on that note.
Time for you guys to get the fuck out of my house.
Time to call it. Smash Mouth came out in 97. He just died recently. The Shrek
Dear
guy.
God.
56 years old.
I think he drowned in Tommy Lee's pool. I think that's where he died.
or
Just fucking.
he suffocated on Tommy Lee's pole.
He's still floating in
It's
there
the kid floating. I think that has.
with fucking holding a Starbucks. Fucking pumpkin spice floating in his pool.
When you first said it, I thought you said he suffocated or he drowned on Tommy Lee's pole.
Gee, well, he could have. You never know.
That's horrible.
Starbucks.
Fucking holding a Starbucks. Bloated fucking body.
You know what's weird I think about? If somebody had to tell Tommy Lee, like, there's a dead kid in your pool, and you know there was a moment where he was like, I don't give a fuck.
I know.
You know what I mean? You gotta think about it.
He was, if after all the other shit that happened, I was saying, he was probably like,
Oh shit, dog.
Found
Hey.
Hey, I found the top album of 1997.
Here we go.
The Great Malenko by Insane Clown
Oh, okay,
Posse.
well that's it. This was 97. This was great. We're gonna call it. We are, and there's too many juggalos in Parma. If they may have heard them,
Yeah.
people at my fucking door. So
Start
let's
knocking on your
Juggalos
door.
and juggalettes.
Yeah.
Now we are. What's the next one? We're gonna Tommy. Are we doing it with Tommy?
We were doing it with Anthony.
With Anthony now?
So we're doing it by ourselves. So we'll see you in a couple weeks.
No, I guess Tommy does. He's got a bunch of shit going on, but
I Tommy Haywood's too busy for me to ever get. I can't get him to nail down anything, so we don't know about that. So.
no, I'd like to do one with him eventually, but yeah, I mean, it'll probably be the two of
It'll be
us
the two
or
of us.
anybody else who joins us. But
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks, Arnie, for joining us.
Hey, no
yeah,
problem.
absolutely, giving us your.
I had nothing else going on.
Let us know in the chat and in the Facebook group how many people you think have died in Tommy Lee's pool.
Yeah,
Total.
so we're up
Or
to
choked on its pole.
That's
Yeah.
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.